Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'll mute actually. That's what I think. I think this is the SAP basics actually. Like maybe I think Bhushan for you it might not be helpful, but still I'm going with the other audience. Okay.
Sorry, Sam, what are we trying to do now? I'm just trying to understand.
We just
SAP
giving
basics.
introduction to SAP. Yeah.
Sorry?
SAP basics. I'm giving introduction to SAP.
Yeah, okay.
That might that might not be helpful to you
Yeah,
because
of
you
course.
already.
No problem. Go ahead, Sam.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So just we'll go what is the definition of SAP. Then why SAP, all the industries are going with the implementation of SAP. And some of the industries, why not SAP? Because they are not going with implementation of the SAP actually. So this is the agenda I'm going to talk today. So next we go with the history of the SAP versions and what is R by 3 system, like, real 3 environment. What is R by 3 system? Next, we talk about the ASAP methodology. Like in we know about the agile and we know about the waterfall model and other models, V models and everything, right? But in our SAP terminology, you generally go with the ASAP methodology. So what is that? We're going to see in the detailed slides actually. Okay. And what are the various modules available in SAP, and what is the difference between client and the types of the clients? What do you mean by client actually, and different types of the clients, and what is a user, and what are the password rules, and what is the language? These all will be coming in the, like, whenever we go to the SAP logon pad, right? So this is the SAP logon pad. So where we need to connect with the SAP systems actually, SAP servers, whatever the servers we have, right? So if you go with this one, SAP retail module, we'll talk what are the modules available, different modules, but just I'm giving some sort of intro to that, or go to SAP demo like this. So this is a client, right? So what do you mean by client, and what is the user and what are the password rules, and what is the language we're going to use for the SAP logon. So that's what we're going to uh, deal with this. I mean, what are the field types available? What are the generally field types available in SAP? And sessions. So sessions is nothing but when you log on to SAP. So different sessions, like, when we want to go with www.gmail.com, www. Other with google.com or something like that, right? So in the similar fashion, we have in the SAP itself, we can open 6 sessions, and based upon the based upon the company, we can extend also, but maximum would be the 9 sessions we can open at one shot. Actually, I'll going to show you how the sessions will be opened and everything, and different messages available. What are the different messages available in the SAP, and types of data available in the SAP side, and SAP testing projects. So what are the different projects available in the testing projects for the SAP side? So we'll go with the first introduction, what is SAP? So generally, I mean, terminology, if you talk with us, we generally we need to pronounce as SAP, but not the SAP actually. SAP is some sort of a little bit not the good language in the German. So that's what to spoke, whenever we go for interview or something like that, we need to deal SAP. This is the version we're going to use and everything, SAP. So what SAP stands is, SAP stands for the system applications and products in data processing. So this is generally designed and developed by 5 IBM engineers in 1970s as standards-based software alternative to custom-built ERP software. So ERP is nothing but the enterprise resource planning, which is a system actually. So in that, this system has been built on the ERP side actually, which is basically done with the 5 IBM engineers starting in 1970s, like that actually. Okay. Then we'll go with the ERP software packages. SAP was initially designed to run on the mainframe systems and was called as a release 2. So this is called as a starting whenever SAP has been implemented and everything, then they have been done on the release 2 versions actually. Then SAP quickly caught up with the client server model. Previously, there was a no client and server models actually. So later the client server technology came into existence actually, which is called as a R by 3. That is release 3 version actually, which is very most popular in the SAP world actually. Okay. So any doubts on these slides? I mean, am I going fast or something? Please stop me, like wherever if you're not understanding something like that. Okay. Next, we'll go with the why SAP actually. I thought like starting whenever I giving the agenda, right? So why the SAP? Most of the companies are going with the implementation. 1 minute, 1 minute actually. So what logistics? No, what is just. Oh yeah. So next one is the why SAP actually. So SAP implemented most of the big companies like going with the implementation for the SAP because due to the three main reasons. One is the integration in the SAP. We have it tightly integrated with all other modules. For example, if you take some other packages available in the like if you take Oracle or something different packages, if you take, or if you go to Manhattan product or WMS project or something like that, right? So warehouse concepts will do in one system, and again other, suppose if you want to go the finance side and everything, they use other systems. So that is the where the integration is become very hard for the industries actually. So then we came up with the SAP, like which is very tightly integrated with different modules. Like first if you take sales and distribution module, and if you take the like material management module, and if you go with the finance. So these three are the basic modules available in SAP, but these are the tightly integrated with the finance module. Whatever the operations you do in the sales and distributions and or the material management, which comes directly to the, suppose if you want to pay the vendor payments or if you want to get the customer payments into the SAP world. So these are tightly integrated with the finance modules. So that is very like within one system we have all these components of all the different modules available. That's why it is a very like very prominent for the integration purpose. Actually, integration is very good in the SAP world. So next we call it the best business practices. So what are these best business practices? Like in the SAP itself, we have lot of functionalities available in the SAP. Like for example, if you don't understand screen fields, for example, if you open one of the screen and if you don't understand, just click on the F1 or the F1 module. If you can function F1, then it will give little bit information on the SAP what is that field description actually. So that's where the, and also it has a huge libraries available where we have a standard like standard codes or standard things available in the SAP. So that is why it's a SAP best business practices available in the SAP actually. So that's what the most of the industries will go for the SAP implementation side actually. Okay. Next one, standards. So as usual, if you want to go with the big industry like implementation or something like that, we have to maintain some good standards, right? So these are all whatever the IEEE standards or other standards, whichever the audit purpose is full, everything, right? So all these standards are maintained in the SAP world. So that's why due to these three main reasons, the SAP, the most of the big industries are going for the implementation for the SAP side actually. So one is the integration. Integration is tightly within one system. We have different modules are integrated. Second one, we have the best practices we have. And third one is the standards. So all the standards have been maintained in the SAP side actually. Okay. So next we'll go to another slide. So why not SAP? So most of them I told you, like, because if you want to implement SAP, we need, like, good resources. I mean, so whoever having, like, business process understanding or business process knows everything, or the functionality known, so then only they can implement the SAP. So this is a very, very complex systems. Complex why? Because they have different modules are available in this one system, where all these have been integrated, right? So which is integrated with among one system, right? So that's where the complexity comes. So if you go with the sales and distribution module, we have different resources available. For the material management, if you have different resources available. For the finance, we have different resources available. So we need to coordinate to each and every module persons to get the things to be integrated to the finance module. So that's why it's a, and also getting resources are also very, very crunch for this SAP module, because specializations, they need a specialization. For example, if you go with the finance module, they need a specialization with the finance thing, how the finance business runs and everything. So that's why it's a very, very complex system. So that's what getting resources also very difficult. So most of them, like, think like, why we're going with SAP, something like that. More, I mean, not most of the industries, but some of the industries, like, won't prefer for the complexity side. And we can, and also naturally cost, because the cost is also huge compared to other like, other packages available. So based upon that packages, they also think, like, middle scale, or the middle scale industries, right? They won't go for the SAP implementation, because maintain the cost and the maintenance also very high actually. And for these two things, for the complexity as well as for the cost, to come up with a new things came up in the SAP, like, to cover the middle scale business environments and everything, they came up with the SAP IS specific module, which is called as a industry specific. Like example, if you take a pharma industry, right? So pharma industry doesn't need other modules or something like that. So for that pharma industry, the specialization, the special, they pick, they, like, all the modules have been clubbed into one package, and those packages have been given into the for particular industries. Or else if you go with the retail module, like retail industries, like, if you go with the Walmart, or if you go with Home Depot, or with some other big companies, right? So those are all the retail companies actually, or Nike, or the, or other different like, Adidas. So these are all the retail, or the some other fashion technology companies. So for that particular, based upon that particular industry, they have been developed some sort to, like, to get the market for the middle scale industries. So that's why SAP come up with a new things called as SAP IS modules, like, industry specific modules. This is also little, I mean, it's not, it's completely some sort different between the ECC modules, like in ECC, sales and distribution, material management, finance modules. The industry specific modules are a little bit different compared to these modules actually. Okay. So any questions still for? Okay.
Little bit slow, little bit slow. Okay.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
So that's what I mean. Say, if you please, I mean, say, if I'm going fast or something, please stop, and then maybe you can tell, like, go a little bit slow or
Yeah,
something like that.
little bit
Okay.
slow. That's fine. Okay.
Yeah. And next we have the history and the versions of the SAP world. So first release 3, R by 3, I told you, right? What is R by 3? It is a real-time 3-tier architecture, like, which with the client server model, right? Previously, there was a no client and server technology came into existence. That is called release 2. That is R2. Then later SAP has been come up with a good thing, like, client and server. So that's what the R by 3 come up into picture. So first version of this 3.1 version, then we came up with the 4.0b, and then release 3, 4.5b, 4.6, 4.6b, 4.6c, and 4.7 and 5, 6. So latest version would be the SAP ECC 7, like, business suite. So this is the latest version. 6 generally will go with the ECC 6 version or the 5 versions. So these are the 5, 6, and 7. These are the latest versions available in the SAP. But previous all or maximum they have been sunset. I mean, they stopped the like, maintenance part they are not giving for this actually. So that's why these ECC 5, 6 and 7 came into pictures actually. Okay. Then we'll talk about the R by 3 systems actually. What I told you, like, R by 3 is nothing but the real-time 3-tier architecture. So 3-tier architecture is nothing but we have the presentation server, we have the application server and the database server. So all these are residing in one, DB actually, in one database. So, but they are internally, they have been divided into 3 categories. One is the presentation server, middle one is application server, and then database server. Like example, if you take how I mean, so like, this is the little bit example I'll give you, like, wherever you see monitoring the screen, that is called as a presentation server. And application server is nothing but when we go into the logic actually. For example, uh, so from the keyboard, I'm typing is a plus, or like, I'll give you 5 plus 6 equal to 11 or something like that. Okay. So do you think, like, 5 plus 6 is equal to 11? Is it understandable by the computer? No. Whatever the keyboard I'm giving from the keyboard, right? So that is going internally. So 5, the 5 is converting into ASCII code, like, which zeros and ones, and the binary code, not the ASCII code, sorry, binary code. So the 5 is converted into the binary codes, like, zeros and ones. And then similar way, the 6 is also converted into binary language because computer understand only the binary language, zeros and ones, zeros and ones. So that's why internally, whatever you doing the logic things, right? So those are coming into from the, like, in the application server. Application server is nothing but where the logic comes. So whatever you seeing, like, yeah, I'm typing, right? 5 plus is equal to 11. You are able to view. So that is coming onto the presentation server actually. But internally, what is happening, that 5 is converting into the binary language, and then 6 is also converting into binary language, and equal to, and then 11 is also converting into the binary. So total everything is converting into the binary language, and then binary language understand by the computer, and it is displaying. I'm typing from the keyboard, I'm 5, but I'm just it coming onto the presentation server, the 5 is displaying. Similarly, I'm typing plus, it's displaying the 5. So similar way, we have a 3-tier architecture, right? So this is the presentation server and application server. Database server is like, for example, if I want to save some data or you want to get some data from the database, then that is triggering to the, like, for example, I'm writing some query, like, select, for example, star from EMP table. Just I'm giving example. Okay, tables, EMP table does not exist in SAP, but just I'm giving example. So select star from EMP table, employee table. So what is happening? The employee table is already available in data in the DB actually. So that star I'm giving, like, star instead, it is asking me to get the data whichever available for the employee data from the database actually. So that's what employee data, whatever is coming to the application server, and application server is presenting to the presentation server. So there is integration, like, where whichever the whatever the operations you are performing, which is coming to the application. And if you want to insert the data or you want to pull the data from the database, it's coming back from the database server. So that's why it is a 3-tier architecture, like, presentation, application, and database. So that's why it's called as a 3-tier architecture. SAP is based on the 3-tier architecture. Okay, so that is maybe sometimes it is also R by 3 also we can call it actually. Okay, that is real-time 3-tier architecture. Okay. And next, we're talking about the ASAP methodology. So as I mentioned, like, each and every industry is having their some standards are available. Like, for example, if I want to go with the before implementation, they will ask, like, what type of implementation, how the model, which model we're going to prefer or something like that. Some industries will go with the waterfall model, but some industries will go with the V model. And nowadays we are going with the agile actually. Agile is very famous or very good thing, where whenever the requirement comes, small chunk of the requirement, I mean it's a big requirement, is segregated or divided into small chunks, and that small chunks will be delivered to the in a sprints actually. So that is the agile model. Whereas waterfall model, all the things will be first the requirement, then the development, then the testing will start, then the coding will move to the UAT, and then UAT will done, and then it will go to the production. So there the waterfall model having disadvantages. Then if something goes wrong at the end point, whenever it comes to UAT or whenever it comes for the pre-prod environment, UAT is doing something and suddenly they told this is not our requirement. Then what will happen? Completely whatever they developed, nearly 5 months of gap or 3 months of gap, they're wasting actually. Similar way, they came up with the agile is wherever if you go with only 15 days, within the 15 days, they do the the developer will do the coding side, and the testing people will also do the testing one by small chunks actually. So if something happens, they're going to lose only the 1 week of time, 1 week or max of 10 days, or that time will be lost actually. That's it. So that's why the people industries are going with the agile model. But SAP has their own methodology, which is called as the ASAP methodology. It has 5 different phases actually. So one is the project preparation. Look, well, like project preparation, business blueprint, realization phase, final preparation, go live, and the continuous improvement. So these are the 5 stages available. So we will see one by one. What is the project preparation and who are all involved? So testing people never comes at the project preparation. Testing people also come, but not the tester. Low level, where the testing, like in junior testers or testers will not come at the project preparation side. Like example, if I take, I'm moving this is a present system I have, I'll go with WMS Manhattan side. Manhattan is a product for the warehouse actually, which is just like transferring to the, I want to go with the SAP implementation. So we have the requirement A, B, and C, D. So first, whenever the people come, we were in the project preparation, either the delivery managers or the project managers, senior project managers will come into picture here. So the first they will go with the study the existing system. What are the business flows available? What are the business processes available for the Manhattan for their company actually? For example, I'm doing for the Adidas, for example. So they'll first of all they will study the what Adidas having different operations or with different processes they have. They're going to study about that. Okay. So and also during this phase, the test managers or the higher delivery test managers will come into picture. They are also going to analyze, and also they will also look the requirements and also everything, and then they will think how many people are required. People management will also come into picture, people management in the sense they will think for these type of requirements I need two SMEs, I mean so subject matter experts or the business analyst I need. And for the similar way from the SAP side, I need SAP test manager I need, or else I need SAP test lead I need. So those are all the people management, as well as studying about the existing system, what are the different processes available. Everything will be studied at the project preparation side. Okay. Then with the business blueprint, actually, what exactly they will think the senior most consultants or senior most people will study the analysis will done on the requirements. I'm talking about the requirement A. So they senior consultants or senior managers, they will think like, whether this A functionality is available in SAP, whether we can fit it or not. So like that, they will this functionality directly available in SAP will go with the SAP. Okay, directly we can functionality available in the SAP side. So this is the business blueprint will be prepared. Business blueprint in the sense what are the existing functionalities, and also at this time also while preparing business blueprint also they will analyze the gap analysis also they will do. Gap analysis is nothing but what I'm taking A is there, A is there, and B functionality it doesn't exist in the SAP world. So this is called this functionality B functionality does not exist in SAP. So this is called as a gap actually. So this is called as a gap analysis. So where they find the gaps actually. So later what exactly they will do with the gaps, we'll see actually. Okay. So like that C functionality also where if it is directly fitting in the SAP, they will think like, okay, this is also fit. D will not fit. So like that they will analyze and they will put the gap analysis, and then after the blueprints and everything prepared, and they will come with the realization phase is nothing but I was talking the gap analysis, right? So they will think like, how we can do it in the B actually, how we can fit this functionality into SAP. Like, either they will do some functional things or they will do they will give this functionality to the developers. So developers in the SAP things we have like, we have functional consultants where they will deal with the functionalities of the in the SAP, and then we have the technical consultants, and later we have techno functions also available. They're very like costly person. They are like they deal with like charging heavy techno functional guys. So they will do functional as well as the technical. Both they can do. Those are called techno-functional consultants actually. Okay. Then functional consultants, technical consultants, and then we comes like testing, test leads, and we have uh, basis consultants will also do. So basis is nothing but whenever you they will migrate in the sense, for example, developers do in the development environment. So once the unit testing is done, that coding will move to the QA environment, QA server actually. So then that moving part I'm talking about, right? So those transport requests, whatever the request comes, the transport request is nothing but whatever the changes, whatever the functional changes are doing, they put it in one request actually. So that request will given to the basis consultant. The basis consultant will move that request number from development server to the QA servers. Then the SAP test leads or the test manager, whoever there is, they will be doing all the test data prep activities, and everything will be done at the test leads actually. Okay. So here in the realization phase, I'm talking about the gap analysis will be done. That the gap will be given to the either the functional consultants or the technical consultants. Technical consultants will do the developing from the they can do scratch from the programming. Like if you want to if nothing is available in SAP, the programming the programming language in SAP is called as ABAP, Advanced Business Application Programming, which is a ABAP, which is like it's just like a SQL or something like that, right? Similar way, they don't use the SQL, but they have their own language. They're going to do the coding that is called as ABAP, application Advanced Business Application Programming side. So that is called as ABAP. Okay. So then that coding is done, right? So once the coding, everything will be done at the realization phase. So now, once the realization phase comes, our tester and test leads come into picture. So which phase, sometimes they can maybe in the interview or something, they can ask like, which phase the test leads or tester come into picture, like, testers basically I'm talking. But starting phase of the project preparation itself, there can be a test manager, or the test manager will be coming to picture where they can doing all the analysis, and then people resource management they will do. How many resource they need and everything, how many SMEs they need, how many BS are everything. So those, but the testers come into picture is test leads, and testers come into picture is in the realization phase. So realization phasing is nothing but whatever the code they developed, they will do the unit testing first. The testing concepts, what similar concepts are there, but first the developer do the unit testing. The once the developer satisfies and everything, then he will push that code. Not developer, but the basis consultant will push the code from the dev environment to the QA environment. Then the QS people will come into picture. Then the QA people do the we have different in the SAP world. We have different concepts are there. Like, first one is the system testing they will do. System testing. Before system testing also, whoever the leads and everything will, the recipe leads are there, right? Smoke testing they can do. Smoke testing is nothing but just they will check whether that environment is having correctly, environment is set up. They run couple of transactions going to run in the SAP world. So like in SAP environment, some transactions, they will just put the T code. So here, one more important thing is in the SAP, whatever the operation you want to perform with the help of, for example, if you want to do add to cart, we click on the add to cart, right? Similar, not similar way, but each and every business process, or if each and everything functionality, if you want to run, we're going to use as a transaction codes, transaction codes, which in the shortcut we call as a T codes. So these T codes are very important. Either you need to by heart these T codes, or you need to put it in the favorites. I will show you how you're going to add your favorites to the screens and SAP menu, and I can show you that. But the favorites are also very important. With the favorites, no need to by heart the things, but just you need to know the T codes available. What are the T codes available? The T codes are available in the favorites thing. Double click on that, you will go to that operation actually. So each and every operation we go perform with the using the transaction codes. So very important actually. Okay. So I told smoke testing, right? Smoke testing will be done by the test leads. They will just check the environment, how the readiness of the environment is correctly having or not. And suppose next will come into the, after system testing will come with the SIT. Here we call it as ST, that is system testing. System testing can be a cycles also, system testing one cycle, cycle one, cycle two. If the environment is not stable enough, then again they will something they will do, and then we'll put it as a system testing cycle two. Cycle two. So like that. Similar way, after the system testing everything done, then they will go with the SIT, which is called as system integration testing. So in system integration testing is also, next comes the system integration, the whoever comes in the testing side. So the system integration is nothing but either it can be integrated to different modules. I mean, so for example, I'm doing a sales order, right? If you want to get after sales order done, if you deliver to the customer and then customer is paying and everything, right? So those incoming payments from the customer and everything, so those are integrated with the finance modules. Okay, and if you want to provide the item, right? Whatever I'm talking, for example, laptops are there. If I want to, the customer is placing an order for the laptops. The laptop we need to deliver to the customer, right? So the laptop is called as item. So item is coming from the material management. So these little bit terminology you need to understand, what is the item and where it is coming, which module it is coming. And after that, if the once we deliver, the things to the customer, then customer is going to do the payments after or before that also the customer is paying, right? So customer pays the amount, the incoming payments trigger from the FI module to the SAP world. So that integration part, or for example, now we are doing a demo web shop, right? So what exactly we are doing demo web shop? We are just taking one books. We are going to the books and we are placing an order from the books, and that order and everything, like, if the order is triggering from the SAP, that order will come from that and back to SAP as a sales order, something like that. So that integration, whichever demo web shop is a different environment, which is a different system, third party systems. So that should be integrated to the SAP. So that is called as integration testing. So, and also the data is saving back to SAP. Integration is nothing but within that module is integration. Like, I told you, module, SD module, finance module, these are all integrated with one system. But if the company is using 3-4 systems, legacy is nothing but if you're using apart from the SAP system, those are called legacy. Like, for example, if I'm talking the e-com website is there. So e-com website, we are placing orders, but the finance and everything data is coming back and storing in the SAP. So that is called integration testing. We are placing orders in different environment, but the data is coming to the SAP world. So that is called a system integration testing side. Okay. So once the system integration is done, this also maybe sometimes can do in the cycle wise, cycle 1, cycle 2 or something based upon the environment and everything. So once the system integration testing is done, they will go with the UAT, user acceptance testing, where the users will do generally business process things are the users, business key users will do the UAT testing. But sometimes the leads of the SAP, they're going to coordinate with the UAT. If they want some data to be created or something master data, if they want to create, then they will go with they will integrate, they will coordinate the SAP test leads will coordinate with the UAT person, business persons, and they will do the business person will going to do the UAT. So once the UAT is done, they will go with the they will put that code into the production environment. So that is called realization phase. All types of testings come into the realization phase. Whatever I was talking, system testing, system integration testing, and also UAT also will also come into the realization phase. Once the realization is done, they will go with the final preparation. Final preparation is they will go with the go or no go meetings or the CAB meetings. CAB is nothing but change access board. Once you've done everything, right, testing, UAT and everything done, all the defects closed and everything, then from our testing managers or the testing delivery managers will go for the CAB meetings. Why I'm talking about these terminologies are because at real time I'm giving some examples actually. Okay. So CAB meetings, they will go for go or no go meetings. These are called as a go or no go meetings actually. So they will ask from the dev team, dev managers or something, you having any concerns or anything if this code goes to the production and something happen, what is your backup plan? They will ask for example, in the production, something suddenly happened. So what is your rollback plan? Rollback or the backup plans? So backup plan is nothing but they want to comment that code or they want to remove that code from that existing environment like that. So these are the rollback plans they will ask actually. What is your mitigation? If something happens, what is your mitigation plans? So those are all in the final preparation before going to prod and everything. They will prepare it and then they will send it to the production, that go live and support. So this is called as a go live, where the whatever the developed and whatever the changes have been done, that will go to the production environment where the business people or the customers going to use that environment. And then we have the continuous improvement after the implementation is happen. Whoever the implementation partners are there, they're going to give maybe a 2 months we'll give the support support we'll give for 2 months. If any something major bugs or something happens, we'll fix it with the free of cost. And something if differently, if some business using and suddenly told business, I want this requirement, then they'll go back and check whether this requirement was really missing or they want the new changes. So that new changes will come into as a CR, that is called as a change request. That request come into the part of the CRs. So then that CRs again will go for the project preparation, business blueprint, realization, final preparation. That is called as a continuous improvement. So this is a SAP methodology. We're going to SAP has their own methodology they're going to follow, or sometimes they will go with the agile model also, fine. So any questions or any doubts in this SAP model, or anyone?
It's fine.
Okay. As I was talking, this business implementation phase, as I told you, right? So at the time I told you, like whoever come into picture, what exactly they will do, right? Project preparation, I told you, right? Project preparation, test strategy. So I think these terminals are very, very important. Test strategy, and then next is test plans. These test plans and test strategy is nothing but when you go with the whole organization level, there will be a test strategy will be there. For the particular project, we call it as a test plans. You basic understand between test strategy and test plans is not test strategy. Overall, for example, I'm implementing Oracle to SAP. That is test strategy will be there. But apart from that, phases will be divided. But this year, we're going to develop some functionality will develop to going to the SAP world. I was talking the requirements, right? This AAB. So AAB will go this during this 2024 phase. So that is called as during that phase, they will return the test planning. So test planning and test strategy will be done at the project preparation site. And I told you as is and to be. This is also very, very important terminology in the business in the SAP. As is nothing but they will study. I told you they study the Oracle system, how it be WMS Manhattan. I told you, right? They will study how the business process are evolving in the WMS system. That is called as is. And to be is whatever going to implement toward the SAP. So that is transferring toward the Manhattan to going to the SAP. That is called to be, or some gaps, whatever is right to be, whatever that comes into the to be part. So as is existing, and to be is to whatever you're going to implement. That is called a to be. So based upon these as is and to be documents, they're going to prepare the test strategies they're going to prepare. So how many requirements come, how many resources they need, how many SMEs they need, BS they need. So all these they will prepare the test strategy, and what are the environments they need, and what is the criteria, exit criteria, entry criteria, and what are the timelines needed. So all these will be aligned. They have, I think, test strategy. They have separate format is there. Generally, if you go in Google, also you'll get test strategy format actually, or the template. So that template, the industries, every industry has their own templates. So we need to fill that template, and then we will give it to the. We need to present to the business, not the business actually, key users, or the whoever the project managers or the delivery managers, whoever we need to present to that, telling that what is our scope. We are doing was these types of testing we are going to do, and what is our out of scope. For example, if using vendor payments with the other third-party vendors are there, so that is no that is we can't do we cannot do the testing. Then that is mentioned in the test strategy document, that is out of scope. In scope and out of scope, resources, test environments, all the test where you're going to maintain these documents and everything. All these will be highlighted in the test strategies. And then business blueprint document, they will whatever the as is and to be, based upon that they will prepare the business blueprints. Okay, so then once the business blueprints is done, then they will do the gap analysis, I told you, right? So then once the gap analysis is done, they will prepare the configuration document. Like in configuration in the sense, if it is a business side, the functional people will do the functional business document. FDD is recalled as. Why I'm telling all this terminology? Because these are very, very important when you go for the testing side. What document you need to refer, what documents you need to ask for the for the whoever the key users are there, right? What type of document you need to ask before, how you're going to write your test scenarios and everything based upon the TDD and FDDs. TDD is nothing but the technical design documents, and FDD is nothing but the functional design documents. Generally, in other world, we can call it a HDD, high level design documents, low level design documents. But in the SAP world, we need to generally we need to go with the functional specification documents, FSD or FDD, anything, if functional specification document, or we can call it the technical design documents. TSD, technical specification document, like a TSD or TDD. Okay, so technical design documents will be prepared by the technical consultants, and functional design document will be prepared by the functional consultants. Like example, what is the main difference between functional and technical design documents is, for example, already in SAP, I will show you login or not, but okay, maybe I don't have the access. I think. Like example here, right? So if I take this login pad itself, right? If I want to click this new icon, right? So new icon or the pencil button, edit button, delete button. So generally, if the delete button is not enabled, it's disabled. For example, it is disabled, right? So what the functional consultant will do, they will enable, so in the backend, they will have the functionality for this delete one. Actually, they will put radio button, or that they will put some sort of, not coding actually, just they will enable that. Enable is either they will choose that radio button or something else, then that delete button will be highlighted. So we can use that. So that is called the functional. But if they don't want, some other menu or some other icon, they need to create it, which is not available in SAP. Then that functionality is given to the technical design documents, where they can go with the coding side and they will prepare. For example, if I has cancel button, OK button, and I want to put the edit button, for example, then edit button is not there in the SAP, but with the help of the technical design documents, they will go with the TDD documents, just technical design document they will do. In that, they will tell, what type of coding I'm going to use, and then what type of table I'm going to use, and everything they will mention in that TDD, technical design documents. And they will, with that coding logic, not completely they will maintain the coding, but they will maintain the logic, what exactly logic is going to use for that particular button to be added to the particular menu. Then that coding with that logic, the technical people will write the code, and they will push it to the QA environment. So that is the basic difference between the functional consultants and the technical consultants. Okay. So here we are here. So then we come with the realization phase. So realization phase, configuration on dev server, and then they will do with the master data formatting, master data, all these functional in the SAP side, functional testing. I told you, right? Functional testing, FT or ST, system testing, transactional testing. We can call it integration testing, security testing. Security testing is nothing but, generally, as in the TOSCA world, right? In the TOSCA, we're talking about that checking checkouts, right? For particular some of the users, we're going to use the check-in and checkouts, right? For similar way, if the user wants only readable access, he cannot do any changes or anything, then that is called as security comes. Security in the sense, they will the roles will be assigned to particular users. These type of roles will be useful for that user, only readable role. Then generally testers will get the readable to the code and everything. Like they cannot do the go into the code and they can make the changes. Where that is given by the security consultants. Like their security consultant will give the roles particular to that. Based upon that role, the role will be assigned to particular users. So based upon that, we're going to do that. I mean, so for example, I don't want to give the finance activities to the particular tester or something SD tester, sales and distribution. Then the finance people role will be there, particular one role will be there. That role will be not given to that sales and distribution person. Then he cannot access the T codes or the transactional codes for the finance things. So they will tell this transaction, it is not, you are not authorized to use that transaction. That message will be displayed when you trying to give that the things, then it will display. Okay. So that's the security testing. Automation, we are doing the automation testing, like either by automation tools. We are using TOSCA is one of the famous thing. We are going to that is the automation side. And performance, like we do have the performance tools are available, load runner, stress test, and everything. How the load is behaving and everything that comes under for performance testing side. So these are some sort of terminologies available for the QA side, SAP general QA, but SAP QA we have some different terminology. Security is a different terminology we have. Transaction testing is different. Okay, and go live and support, as I told, system performance testing. After go live support, how the system behaves. Like for example, um, all of a sudden some Labor Day is there, right? So on that Labor Day, like lakhs of people will log on to that particular system, and then they will buy the things, right? At the time the system should not crash, so that the business will completely down on that day. So that's why the performance testing, system testing will come into picture. Like how the system behaves when using, like more than 1,000 millions of users something using, how it behaves, whether the system will crash or not. So those are all will come under the go live and support. And final preparation, user acceptance testing, performance testing also will, and regression. So that regression testing will come when the system is stable or something, then the regression testing will come. And also when before, after the regression testing, whatever the test suite identified for the regression, from that regression suite, will be doing the automation suite. Like an automation suite is not from the regression. If you have 2,000 test cases are there, from the 2,000, we're going to automate only the 1,000, or we're going to automate only 500, or based upon the feasibility and everything, they will come up with the automation scenarios and everything. So this is some sort of the where the our people come into picture. Our, in the sense, testing people will come into picture whenever each and every phases are given in the like gray color or the black color are the phases available in the SAP. Blue color, which are all our testing people will come into picture. Okay. Any doubts here? The phases wise, and how the testing people where will fit it in and everything.
Sam, you can add two more testing types called interface testing and the workflow testing.
Interface testing,
So
and workflow.
yeah, interface
Yeah,
inbound and outbound interfaces.
excellent. That is also, like we can I can amend
Yeah,
this
you can add
slide
it later.
actually.
That's okay. I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah,
giving the
yeah.
input. Yeah.
Yeah, interface testing is nothing but, like as Bhushan was mentioning, right? Interface and other what is the other one, Bhushan?
Workflow.
Workflow. Workflows are nothing but, like if one from one side, like simple example I can give. If the like HR module is there, right?
For the
HR is
approval
one of
purpose, that's all it is.
approval purpose. That
Yeah.
if the HR is there, right? HR module is human resources. Like for example, you will come into the, like you come into the office, and you will key in the badge or something, right? Whenever you key in the badge, then automatically what is happening, you register, like you tell, like this person is present, so and so time, so and so date, he is present. So that once it HR, that is HR module I'm talking. So if you're absent, then automatically what will happen? The email will trigger to your, or you were raising a request for the on August 14th, I will not be available, out of office. Then what will happen? That will email automatically trigger to your leads or the managers. Boss, on this day, he is absent actually. So what is happening? Whether your work will impact, or what is a backup plan or something like that, he will think on, and he will approve the leave. Once he approved, then automatically your leave will, your leave balance, you can apply the leave on that particular day. If it is rejected, automatically you will get an email stating, but your like your whatever the request raised is denied by your manager. So that is called as a workflow. Similar way, we have the
The other simple example I can give you, Sam.
yeah.
So going this planning to, show us, procure to pay or order to cash, right?
That's what I don't want to
In-
give that
in-
example, because maybe they will, I have different slides are available.
Oh, okay.
Sales and distribution module, I have
Yeah,
separate slide is
whenever
there.
you post an invoice or any
Exactly.
entry, you can park it, and there is a workflow gets triggered to go to the next person to
Correct.
approve it,
Correct.
and then it gets posted. That's all it is. You can have
Mm,
2 level or 3 level or 4 level of approvals. Depends on
yeah.
the dollar amount limits. Yeah.
Yeah. Like as Bhushan was mentioning, right? What exactly is like PO? That is PO. I'll tell you what exactly POs and everything, and what is SDs and everything. Like sales order and everything. SO, sales order. PO is nothing but the purchase order. Like example, vendor, if the purchase order is raising toward the vendor, towards the vendor actually. So if it is, we have the some
There's
workflows.
actually I had to drop. I'm dropping. I had other some other assignment. Yeah.
Sure, sure, Bhushan.
Okay.
If any
Okay.
points
Thank
to be
Yeah.
amendment, let me know,
Yeah. Yeah.
or
I
you
will.
can add, there on
Oh,
there itself. Actually, that is a
sure.
good
Okay.
actually.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
We good thing, like we have a Bhushan which who is very experienced person in the functional wise. He have literally 20 years of experience from the functional and everything. Okay, so we can get inputs from him also. Okay. So purchase order is nothing but when we when raising a purchases towards vendor is like purchase order. For example, laptops are there. If a company, for example, Dell laptops are there. For example, Dell laptops. So Dell laptops, if the Dell company doesn't having laptops with the newer things or something like that, then what will happen? Dell will raise a PO, purchase order, to the vendors, to vendor. So the Dell company had their own regular vendors, which is called as regular vendors, like who used to supply the goods to the company regular in a regular fashion. So those are called regular vendors. So whenever the Dell placing laptops placing orders to the purchase order, that is called as a purchase order vendors. So then if it is more than 10K dollars, $10,000. So then what will happen? A email will be triggered to the whatever the PO approval process actually. Then email will go to the whoever the managers of the inventory or whoever. They will think, oh, this is more than 10,000 K on which is very like whatever the amount, right? They will give some amount actually based upon that amount. If it is more than that amount, a email should be triggered or the workflow should be triggered, right? Then the PO, whatever the approval process, will go to the approval end, and then once it is approved, then again back the PO will go to the vendor. Before that, before approval, it will not go. If it is rejected, then the PO will not go to vendor actually. Okay. Once the PO is approved, then only the PO will go to the vendor. So that will come whatever the concepts I'm talking, right? So those are all called, some different testings are available. And also what he was mentioning, like an IDOCS. IDOCS is nothing but which is intermediate document transferring the data from SAP to legacy systems. What are legacy systems? Which are not from the SAP, which are other systems like Manhattan or Oracle or some other VB.NET e-com websites. So those things will come, whatever the coming from, that is called going out from the SAP outbound IDOCS, And coming to the SAP inbound, which is called as a inbound iDocs. So we need to test those also. Okay, that is called interface testing. Okay. So this is any doubts in this? Good to go?
Yes.
Okay. Then we'll come up with the R/3 technology, like in the business modules I was talking, right? So what are the different modules? I think you want me to stop here, or if
Yeah,
it is
better to continue tomorrow because new
correct, correct. That's what I was saying. And maybe you can think on, like, if you find something not needed, or need more time, if you want to explain one more time also fine. If you want not understanding the three-tier architecture or the SAP methodology, tomorrow I'll take it up. Okay. Thank you guys. I mean, just I want to stop here.
Okay, see you tomorrow. Okay.
Hmm.
Thanks,
Thank
thanks
you.
everyone. Thank you. Bye.